Before we get started tonight, I just want to give a special shout out to Coaching for Literacy. Coaching for Literacy is a national nonprofit organization that uses the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. What's up, everybody? AAC Tournament Day 2, Bluff City Media. I'm Christian Fowler, joined by Mason Dashiell. It's a tough one to say. I hope you know. The S and the S.
I'm just glad you pronounced it correctly.
I did. I pronounced it correctly 2 days in a row. But anyways, we are back with Day 2. Memphis just gave Tulane a can of whoop. You know what? Big beep. 40-point victory by a team that hasn't gotten a 20-point win all year, but they get a 40-point win against a team that beat them twice. So revenge story for the Tigers tonight. Revenge story for Mason and myself against this banner from hell that fell on us about 15 times last night while we were recording. Yours truly was quite stressed because of it, because I'm a little bit perfectionist, and this thing fell all night because of the wind. So now we're indoors, controlled environment, no wind, banner still. And as I mentioned, Memphis won. So that's all that matters. Memphis got the win. They're heading on to the final. Mason, thoughts from Day 2?
I thought the game went really well today. Like I said yesterday, I really did not expect the Tigers to go into this game and have a 40-point win. I don't think anybody did. I mean, it was just crazy. And overall, I think that, like we said yesterday, that the other players had to step up. And today, they did that. Every single player took their part, stepped up with scoring points. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, totally agree. I think some of the biggest moments in this game came from role players. Obviously, Kendric and DeAndre, great games, 27 and 20. They did what they do. But you have Malcolm Dandridge, who came in. He got some buckets late, but early in the first half, had some blocked shots and walled off the paint. Chandler Lawson hit the buzzer beater before halftime. Demario Franklin did more of his damage toward the end, but I think he played well defensively in the first and second half before the game got out of hand. Alex Lomax was awesome defensively. It was good to see him back. It was up in the air on if he was going to play or not. So I think they needed him defensively. He played well. Elijah McCadden had a great game. He hasn't done much as of late, so it was good to have him have a good performance. So yeah, as you mentioned, role players stepped up, and that's a big key of getting a 40-point win. You need everyone to play well.
I think all the players also fed off of each other tonight. And then when Demario Franklin, I think it was in the first half, hit that three, I think that really boosted his confidence. And in general, just all the players really stepped up because of that.
Yeah, and we were actually sitting next to each other when he hit that three, and I was like, that's what Demario needs to kind of get confidence throughout the game, and it absolutely fueled him. I think it was either the first or second three they hit in the game, and then they end the game with, I believe, 13 threes, which is, this isn't a team that shoots a lot of threes or hits a lot of threes, and they make 13 of them, and it was a good performance beyond the arc. It was a good performance everywhere. They didn't struggle anywhere. When you win a game this handily, when you hold a team to, how many points did they have at halftime? 17. 17 points at halftime.
17.
If you do that, you do everything well, and that's what happened.
And going into tomorrow, Houston obviously being the great team that they are, it's so important that the Tigers leave this game confident, because even though it was a 40-point win, even if it would have been a 5-point win, if it would have been a close game, I really don't think that they would have had the confidence that they have going into the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to beat the confidence level of coming off of a victory like that. It's something that fuels a team and shows them that you can not only play with anyone but beat anyone. Because is Tulane a top 25 team? No, they're not. Are they a solid team? Yes. Are they a team that beat Memphis twice this year, once at home? Yes, they are. So to kind of get that monkey off of the back, to not have to worry about that anymore, you settled it in the AAC Tournament semifinal, that's a big deal. So yesterday we talked about the crowd. We were both impressed with the crowd. What do we think today?
Literally today, I was looking out, and before the game actually started, there was another photographer that came up to me and was like, where are the Memphis fans? Why are they not here? And it was all Houston fans. The game before, yeah. I don't even think there was that many Cincinnati fans. It was pretty much all Houston, which they're close. I'll give them that. But I really don't think, as far as yesterday's crowd versus today, there were a lot of Memphis fans, but I think that there were a lot more yesterday.
You think so? I thought it was actually louder.
Really?
I thought it was louder today against Tulane. I know in in a game like this, you don't have many of those spike moments, like emotional moments,
Right.
where people are going nuts. But like the end of the game, Connor Glennon comes in
Yeah.
and Ian Grania comes in, and the crowd went nuts for those moments. But then when you like rewind it back to the Kendric Davis assist to DeAndre when he went up and finished the alley-oop, like the crowd went nuts over that. So I thought it was actually louder on Saturday. But tomorrow, I would imagine there are probably a lot of people right now back home in Memphis buying tickets and probably on the way here right now. If I know Memphis fans, if I know how much they love the program, there's probably been a good number of people that have bought tickets and are headed here right now. So that crowd should be fun tomorrow. As you mentioned, Houston was deep. Obviously, we're in Texas, so there's going to be more Houston fans. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a pretty split red and blue crowd tomorrow, and it's going to be a fun environment. It's going to be one where the fans are going back and forth. Because when you're on your home floor, it's all your fans going crazy.
Right.
When you're in an away game, it's all their fans going crazy. So in a neutral site game, and I think we'll be pretty close. It won't be 50-50. There will probably be more Houston fans because of where we are. But you'll have more of that back and forth between the fan base of Houston hits a big shot, their fans go nuts. Memphis hits a big shot, their fans go nuts. And that's like the whole tournament vibe and tournament feel that's super cool.
And Memphis travels really well, I will say. To every event I've ever gone to, Memphis fans always show up. And like you said, I think going into the game tomorrow, fans that didn't think that we'd get to the final, maybe they waited and like they're going to come down tomorrow or tonight, like you said. I definitely think that'll happen and give the crowd a good environment. Everybody expected, I feel like, Memphis and Houston to have this matchup tomorrow, which is great because the fan base for those two teams in our conference, I feel like, is bigger than all the other teams.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think people were probably like, we're going to wait and see, and by Saturday night, if they've won, we're booking a flight, we're buying tickets, we're jumping in the car, whatever, and we're heading down. So we'll probably have a completely like new flock of people in here on Sunday afternoon for the game. So we've talked a little bit about it, but we haven't jumped into it yet. Memphis versus Houston, 1 seed, 2 seed, AAC championship game. Houston knocked off Cincinnati pretty handily. Obviously, we know what Memphis did against Tulane. The two best teams in the conference made it, and that's always fun. You want the two best teams in the conference to be playing. How do we feel going into it? Houston's 5.5-point favorite, by the way. Not a massive favorite,
Not massive.
5.5-point favorite.
I feel like going into tomorrow, it's hard for a team to beat somebody 3 times. And even though it is Houston and they're number one, the energy that Memphis has winning the past 3 games that they've won and even before then, I feel like their energy is just so up right now. DeAndre Williams, the past 2 games, has been on a totally different level, and players like him and Kendric playing and feeding off of each other.
Yeah.
The whole team, especially even Connor getting to play today, I feel like their energy is so up right now. I really think that Houston, again, is going to come in and think they have it in the bag, like they always do, trash talk, whatever they do. And I really think that Memphis is just going to, again, like Penny kind of said, prove a point. Like they want to prove, everybody trash talks Memphis, different teams tweeting, like he said. I really feel like they're going to come in tomorrow and prove themselves.
It's going to be a tough game. And one thing that happened during the Houston-Cincinnati game is that Conference Player of the Year, one of the best guards in the country, Marcus Sasser, went down. Kenny, you can give me a head nod on this. Has there been any word on his status for tomorrow?
Can we talk?
You talk or just give me a head nod, whatever.
There has been.
Yes.
Kelvin Sampson has said that he's going to be having more imaging done on his groin.
Okay.
But he's setting the stage that Marcus will not play because
they're an NCAA. They're 1 seed in the NCAA. Yeah, here's my thing on that. They've got a 1 seed all but locked up. They're like 99% likely going to be a 1 seed. I don't see any reason for them to risk playing their best player. Right. Obviously, they want to win a conference championship, but the bigger goal for them is a national championship. So I doubt he plays. Could he? And I could be totally wrong, yes. But I just can't see Kelvin Sampson throwing Marcus Sasser out there injured when they've got the NCAA tournament starting next week. So that could be an advantage for Memphis. No Marcus Sasser. Obviously, was voted the Conference Player of the Year. We feel a certain type of way that Kendric Davis should have been, but whatever. Regardless, Marcus is one of the best players in the conference, and for them to not have him is an advantage for Memphis. Regardless of that, Houston is talented everywhere. Tremont Mark, Jamal Shedd, Jawan Roberts, Reggie Chaney, they've got bodies everywhere, and they've got some of the best players in the conference. Jarris Walker, like when you look down the first, second, third team conference teams, and you look at literally every individual award went to Houston, like they have enough talent to make up for the loss of Marcus Sasser. So it makes this game a little more intriguing because from a national perspective, at least, I believe it makes people feel like Memphis has a better shot at this game. If you watch the games, you know that Memphis has a chance in this game whether Marcus Sasser's playing or not. I mean, it took a Jamal Shed buzzer beater to beat them just a week ago. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where to think on this. Who knows what the mindset is with Houston? I mean, they could want to pull their foot off the gas, and that'll probably be a narrative that's talked about. Is, they're going to the tournament, they're 1 seed, they're without their best player. But if you know Kelvin Sampson, if you know these Houston players, they're going to play their butts off, whether it's a preseason game against an unknown team or if it's in the tournament final. So they're going to get Houston's best shot again, and we'll just kind of have to see how it rolls.
Going into tomorrow's game, I really feel like Houston is still going to want to prove their point. They're
Absolutely.
a high-energy team. They're definitely going to go in. They're not going to cut back in any way.
No.
And if anything, even though Sasser's out, I definitely think that they're going to want to win even more just to prove that they can without him. So if the Tigers going into the game tomorrow can hit 13 threes like they did today, then, and if all the players put their work in, Memphis definitely has a shot.
Yeah, absolutely have a shot. To me, the matchup I'm watching for, usually this would be the Marcus Sasser versus Kendric Davis talk.
Right.
But we don't know where that's going to fall. So I think it comes down to how Houston deals with DeAndre Williams. Because through the first 2 games of the tournament, DeAndre's been Memphis' best player. 31 points per game, and I think 11.5, 12 rebounds per game through 2 games.
Right.
He's been absolutely nuclear. So do they use Jarris? Do they use Juwan Roberts? Do they use Chaney? Do they use multiple ways to attack DeAndre Williams? I believe they absolutely will. I think they're going to throw the kitchen sink at him to kind of rattle him and get him off. They know that DeAndre can get emotional. DeAndre can get into foul trouble. They were able to do it last week against him. DeAndre only had 8 points against Houston. So just a week ago, they pretty much shut him down. So I think he obviously has a point to prove.
Right.
He wants to play well against them, but they want to continue to show that they can shut him down. So to me, that's the matchup that makes this game tick. If Houston's able to really slow DeAndre's production down from the last two days, Memphis could be in trouble. But if DeAndre continues on this streak, because he's been playing otherworldly, like DeAndre's been absolutely unstoppable in the first 2 games. If he can play like that, I think Memphis wins this game. I mean, I think if you get, I don't want to say a similar performance to today, because today's an anomaly. Throw it out. They're not going to hit 13 threes. They're not going to win by 40. None of that's going to happen. Every domino is not going to fall the right way. That just doesn't happen multiple days in a row. But if they play solid ball, if Kendric and DeAndre play well offensively, and they get production from other guys, I think we're looking at a Memphis Conference champion. And obviously that's exciting. It could be a heck of a Sunday for all the Memphis fans out there, but we will wait and see. Before we get out of here, you have any final thoughts, any parting shots before we get out?
Not other than just like last year, I came to the conference tournament and saw the Memphis-Houston matchup, and Memphis does have something to prove. So tomorrow is going to be super exciting, and all the fans that are going to be there, it's going to be a good game regardless.
Absolutely. All right, well, with that being said, we're going to get out of here. We've got work to do tonight. We've obviously got work to do tomorrow. We're not going home yet. So head over to bluffcitymedia.co. All of our coverage from the tournament is there. Also, if you're on YouTube, check everything out from the press conferences over the past 2 games. Mason and I recorded a video last night as well. So if you just want to go back and catch up on it.
And have a laugh. It's kind of funny.
And have a laugh because we were fighting the tornado behind us. You can do that as well. Follow us on all of our social media platforms because we'll be covering the game once again at Dickey's Arena tomorrow for the championship game. With that being said, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow with some hardware.